Look, alright, I get it. A lot of you think it's really funny asking for Wes Briscoe to compete on Ring of the Hawk. I have my reasons. We've just gone into lockdown till March and the gyms are closed. I just don't feel up to watching all of those Wes Briscoe matches. My mental health would deteriorate. And it's not like there's any suspense anyway. You just know that guy's going to shove it so hard that he might even end up below Garrett Bischoff and Black Rain. Speaking of my mental health, everything is okay following the last video. I think you all took it a bit out of context. My girlfriend didn't dump on me. My brain dumped out my ass and left me because of the sort of mind-numbing videos I make it watch each week. And of course, if you know a wrestler who could do the J-O-B to the H-A-W-K any night, any day, shove their name in the comment section, Jack! Alright, let's do it. Mick Foley in TNA. Was Tom right, or is he full of shit? Before the very first match, there's a long promo about how the TNA frontline are the underdogs against the main event Mafia. Foley says he's older, slower and greyer, and he's not as good as he used to be. I'm sure that makes everyone want to see him. Match 1, Genesis 2009 main event. 6-man tag, representing the main event Mafia with SHARMELL, the TNA Legends champion Booker T, and he teams with Scott Steiner and... it's supposed to be Nash, but he's injured as usual. So instead they draft in a temporary replacement. It's Cute Kip, aka Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn in the main event in 2009. What a load of rubbish. He's been portraying an effeminate stylist for the beautiful people until recently. So how are we supposed to take him seriously? And by the way, the name is Main Event Mafia, not Midcard Mafia. And they're taking on the team of Brother Devon, AJ Styles, and our guy Mick Foley. Devon Dudley in a TNA main event. I would be livid if I ordered this. How is this a main event? Everyone is brawling and Foley teases jumping on the Midcard Mafia, but they don't want his fat body landing on them. Everyone calms down and the match starts properly. Foley gets tagged in and hits a knee lift on Booker T, and then he pins him for a 2. Then he tags out again. Foley eventually does get in the match again and he punches everybody. They all start fighting around the outside of the ring and then the referee throws the match out for count out. Jim Cornette suddenly appears and says that the match isn't over. Booker gets on the mic and says that the match is over because Cornette doesn't have the power. Foley then gets the mic and says that he's the executive shareholder for TNA and he does have the power and he's going to restart the match and now it's a hardcore match. Bet we're going to be seeing lots of these on this video. Foley is stamping around the arena but the camera keeps missing everything he's doing. Booker back body drops Foley onto the commentary table. They then fight in Mike Tenay's lap as he struggles to hold his little papers together. Foley drops Booker on the guardrail nutsack first. Then he creams Billy Gunn with a chair. Foley tries to dive onto Billy Gunn but Booker hits him in the nut zone. Luckily AJ hits a beautiful dive instead of him. A few moments later Foley tries to do a mandible claw on Booker but Steiner bashes him in the head. Foley starts using a chair but he can't seem to flatten it out and then Booker stalls by screaming no. Foley then hits a DDT on Steiner on the chair and it's over. What a terrible pay-per-view main event. I would be so livid if I paid for that. As far as Foley goes, he didn't have to do much except swing a few weapons and even struggled to do that at times. I certainly don't want to watch any more Foley TNA main event matches after this. What? There's 21 more to watch? I think I'm going to be sick. It's an F. I'm going to try and get through this. Match 2, Kurt Angle in a beanie teams up with Steve Borden. They are tag team partners who don't get on. And they're taking on the team of Slapnuts and our guy Mick Foley. Foley starts out with Angle and Mick takes him down. Angle charges at Foley who takes him down with a clothesline. Foley gets Kurt on the outside but the main event Mafia security try to stop Foley. This is Rocco and Sally Boy and they both suck. Kurt hits Foley with a chair and then hits a devastating ankle slam on the outside. For some reason the match carries on and Kurt is all over Foley. Kurt doesn't want to tag Sting in because he's having too much fun. Angle hits a clothesline and goes for the pin but then changes his mind and pulls Foley up. Sting demands that Kurt finish the match and stop messing around. Kurt Angle then takes Sting out and Jarrett runs into the ring and hits a pedigree. Jarrett starts wrestling Angle even though he's not legal. Then there's a ref bump and Angle runs off to get a steel chair. Do you think that's enough stuff going on in this match? Jarrett gets his guitar but Sting stops him for some reason. Foley chases Kurt with the chair and then smashes Sting in the face of it and covers him for the 3. Even though Sting was trying to wrestle a fair match, he still did it. What a terrible match. It looks like Foley and Sting are feuding now. This match can shove it, it gets an F. Match 3, New Japan Junior Tag Title, Special Enforcer Handicap First Blood match. Do you think that's enough stipulations? Sting is the special enforcer. It's the Motor City Machine Guns, the champions, versus Mick Foley, who comes out with a barbed wire bat. Get used to seeing the bat around, it's kind of a main character in this show. Shelley starts out with Foley and he's outsped quite easily. Foley and Shelley end up on the outside and Sabin hits a dropkick off the ring apron. The Guns follow that up with a double suicide dive onto Foley. Back in the ring, Foley continues to be outsped and crashes into the corner. The Guns do some nice double teaming and Foley is really struggling. The Guns are being incredibly cocky and they taunt Sting. He walks up and hits the Scorpion Death Drop on Sabin on the outside. In the ring, Foley hits the double arm DDT on Shelley. Foley brings out his filthy sock and he throws Shelley out the ring. The referee sees blood on Foley's sock and tries to end the match, but Foley stops him. Foley hits a suplex on the outside on Shelley. He picks up a microphone and says that the match won't be over until Shelley is suffering and bleeding properly. Try to bear in mind that the crowd like Shelley, but they're supposed to like Foley. Mick gets his bat and starts grating it on Shelley's face in the ring. Suddenly Sting hits Foley with a chair. The referee ends the match as Foley is slightly bleeding. Another shocking match. Foley got beaten up for the entire thing and only started to win because Sting interfered. And then it ends because Foley bleeds like a centimetre of blood. Foley probably bleeds more when he passes feces. Oh, this isn't going to go well. It's another F. Before the next match, Foley says that Cactus Jack is going to return. Well, I hope so. All of these matches have been terrible so far. Match 4, Lockdown 2009, TNA World Heavyweight title. Mick Foley versus the World Heavyweight Champion Sting. Hebner starts out the match by taking Foley's bat away. Good. Foley isn't happy about this, so he punches himself in the face until he bleeds. Sting isn't fazed and rubs Foley's face against the cage. Foley fights back with his brawling offense. He then tries to escape the cage, but Sting catches him and hits a back suplex from the top. Foley tries to escape again and he gets his foot trapped and has to be helped to get it released. Sting uses this as an opportunity to work on Foley's leg. Foley eventually fights back and throws Sting into the cage, but the damage has been done to Foley's leg. He hits a neck breaker on Sting for a 2 count. Foley wants to climb out, but his legs are hurting too much. Foley hits the double arm DDT for another 2. There's zero build-up or anticipation and the crowd are in silence. So far the problem I've seen with Foley in TNA is that he does the moves without giving the crowd a chance to realise what's happening. Foley wants to leave through the cage door, but they refuse to open it for him. He then throws a tantrum and randomly takes the cameraman out by kicking the hole in the cage. Foley tries to leave through the camera hole. Don't be ridiculous, you're not getting through there, your belly's too fat. Sting locks in the Scorpion Deathlock while Foley is stuck halfway through the cage. He's screaming at the cameraman, "Give me the bat," and the cameraman stupidly gives it to him. Foley now has the bat in the cage and Sting is scared. Somehow Sting fights him off and tries to escape Foley. Foley then does hit Sting with the bat and hits him in the knee a couple of times. Sting quickly gets back on top with a drop toe hold onto the bat. Sting now has the bat and he starts to hit Foley in the gut. Sting tries to grate him like cheese, but Foley hits a desperation shot, and now he has his bat back and he takes Sting down with a running shot. Foley then dives into Sting with the bat as Sting is opened up. Foley brings the sock out and wraps it in barbed wire, and he starts punching Sting. Foley then charges at Sting in the corner and squashes the bat into him. Lot of bat offense in this match. Foley then starts climbing the cage. He doesn't build any anticipation with the crowd, he just climbs up and 10 seconds later he hits the floor. Foley is the new TNA World Heavyweight Champion. But the bigger question is, what do I grade this match? It was definitely the best match so far. Well, that's not really difficult, is it? We actually got to see some wrestling moves and some barbed wire bat shots. I don't really know what else happened in this match. Let's give it a C and hopefully this will be the start of a better run of matches. Match 5, 10-man tag. The main event Mafia, Kurt Angle, Scott Steiner, Booker T, Kevin Nash and Sting, accompanied by SHARMELL and JENNAJ versus Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels, AJ Styles, Jeff Jarrett and our guy Mick Foley, who cuts Jarrett's entrance off. Talk about star power in this match. It's actually a really fun match, as you might have thought with the guys involved. But that's not because of Foley. He's barely involved for a while, but then he finally gets in the match and Foley beats up Sting with a neck breaker. But Kurt takes Foley straight out of a suplex. The match breaks down and everyone's flying everywhere. Jarrett gets Foley's bat and tries to hit Angle with it, but Foley stops him, and then the two partners fight over the bat, and he tries to hit Jarrett. Jarrett dodges it and hits his own partner with the stroke into the bat. Sting covers him for the 3. He was in the match for about 10 seconds and was responsible for costing his team by fighting with Jarrett. God, this is worse than I remembered. I thought he was going to get a D overall, but he's definitely heading for the shove-it zone with Garrett Bischoff, Black Rain, and the real man's man. This match is also an F. Match 6, TNA Sacrifice 2009 Fatal 4-Way Ultimate Sacrifice match. Every man in this match has to put something on the line to compete. It's Jeff Jarrett, who's put his shares in TNA on the line, versus Sting, who's put his career on the line, versus Kurt Angle, who's put his role as the main event Mafia leader on the line, versus Mick Foley, whose TNA world title is on the line. Sting starts out kicking Foley out of the ring. On the outside, he slams him into the guardrail. They then get into the ring. Sting tries to kick Foley, but they both awkwardly fall over in the ring like two old men without their walking sticks. Foley and Sting try to hit their finishers, but it doesn't work, and they start fighting outside the ring again. They head straight into the crowd, but nothing happens. Foley finally does do something as he hits a pile driver on Sting on the entrance ramp. Angle has Jarrett in the ankle lock in the ring, and Foley puts on the mandible claw at the same time. Kurt realises how stupid this is, and he kicks Foley out of the ring. Foley is too tired from the 5 minutes of cardio he's had to do, so he sits down with the commentary team whilst he pants and tries to get his breath back. The other three are fighting in the ring, but Foley's just sat there relaxing. Angle beats everyone up, and then he realises that Mick is just relaxing at the desk. He does a forward roll across the desk into Foley. Angle follows that up with an ankle slam onto the concrete. He gets Foley back into the ring and he fetches a chair. Jarrett hits the stroke on Foley, but Angle breaks up the pin attempt. Everyone is out now apart from Foley, who puts a sock on both his hands. He puts the mandible claw on Sting and Jarrett and gets a 2 count. He has left himself exposed though, and Angle puts the ankle lock on him. Then there's a ref bump. Foley hits Jarrett with a chair and the referee wakes up to make the count, but he only gets a 2. Angle flies out of nowhere with a splash on Foley for another 2. Angle has a double ankle lock on, but Foley breaks it up. He then hits the double arm DDT on Angle, but the pin gets broken up. On the outside, Sting takes Foley out of a suplex. Whilst that's going on, Jarrett hits a stroke on Angle on the chair, but Sting steals the pin. Sting is the new godfather of the main event Mafia. Foley is still the champion though, because he didn't get pinned. Good match though, and Foley actually participated a bit more. Well, apart from resting at the commentary desk. Best one for Foley so far though, I give him a C. Match 7, triple threat tag match. Samoa Joe and AJ Styles take on the team of Kurt Angle and Sting. And also Jeff Jarrett and Mick Foley, accompanied by Rocco and Sally Boy. Foley and Sting start out and Sting face plants Foley. Angle then gets the tag and he beats on Foley for a bit until Foley turns it around with a clothesline. Mick tags out and joins the commentary team again. He's supposed to be a good guy, but he's just annoying. Jarrett is in the ankle lock and tries to tag out, but can't because Foley is an idiot. Everyone screams at him for what good that'll do. Jarrett attacks Foley at the commentary table and then wallops him with the steel chair. Whilst that's going on, Samoa Joe beats Kurt Angle with a muscle buster. Foley is holding his belt and rocking back and forth laughing. Well, I'm glad you found it funny, Mick, because I thought it was atrocious, and so far you're the worst competitor on Ring of the Hawk. That good grade in the last match was short-lived. It's another F. Match 8, SLAMMIVERSARY 2009 King of the Mountain World Title match. AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe versus Jeff Jarrett. Interestingly, he would only challenge for the TNA title one more time in his career, versus Kurt Angle versus our guy, the champion, Mick Foley. Samoa Joe gets put in the penalty box straight away for beating up Kurt Angle, and because of this, Angle's allowed to be eligible to win straight away. How's that even fair? Anyway, just like most matches, Foley's just chilling on the outside for a while whilst everyone else does the hard work. Jarrett yells at Foley to get involved in the match, so he does, and then there's some sort of mistake. I need to rewind it. Foley tries to slam Jarrett, but he collapses on top of him, and the ref counts 3, but he doesn't count, so they just do it again. And Foley goes in the penalty box. God, this is the most botches I've seen on Ring of the Hawk so far. Oh well, at least he can continue to relax and do nothing in the penalty box. Everyone's taking it seriously and trying to beat the hell out of each other, and Foley's just here in the box acting like a complete goof. The ref lets him out and Foley starts punching Joe. It doesn't go well for him and Joe punches him down. Joe puts the rear naked choke on Foley and he passes out. Worst world champion of all time. He's barely been in the match, he's been defeated twice already. Back in the box he goes again. Samoa Joe is climbing the ladder when Foley is finally released. Joe has to hang the belt to win the match, but Foley takes the ladder out from underneath him. Joe takes a vile looking bump and the ladder is completely destroyed. Foley stacks Joe up on the ladder, but he's an idiot as Joe hip tosses him into the ladder. Angle tries to take Foley out of the ring, but he's too fat. Foley's just lying on the floor like a beached whale, even though he's barely had to do anything. He eventually does get up and fights Jarrett at the top of the ladder. Styles knocks them both off with a springboard dropkick. Foley then has a brainwave and decides to climb onto the penalty box. Styles follows him up there, but ultimately Foley just throws Styles into the ring and it's a bit of an anticlimax. Foley suddenly dives into Kurt with an elbow and pins Angle for the 3, and he's now eligible to win the match. He climbs up the ladder but forgets to bring the belt, so he has to go back down, so Styles hits him with a belt and then kicks Foley off the ladder. Foley's on the outside and AJ goes for a dive onto him, but he barely catches him. Apparently Styles pins him, but the cameraman completely missed it. I'm not making this up. Foley's been defeated 3 times and he has to go back in the penalty box. After his 2-minute rest, Foley comes back into the ring and takes out AJ with a belt shot, but Joe kicks the belt into Foley's face. Foley rests on the outside for a very long time, but his next incident is a giant obese Samoan splashing on top of him on the outside. Anyway, this match finally ends when Samoa Joe has a chance to win but decides to hand the belt over to Kurt Angle and join the main event Mafia. This was the end of anyone ever being able to take Samoa Joe seriously. The match itself was good, but Foley spent most of the match resting. He did hit that elbow drop, but every other single wrestler did a lot more than he did. I give him a D. That ends the worst world title run in TNA history. I don't often agree with Tom. Match 9, triple threat world heavyweight title match. Eric Young is the special referee, but he's in the middle of a mini feud with Jeff Jarrett that never went anywhere. It's Mick Foley versus Jeff Jarrett versus the world heavyweight champion Kurt Angle. Jarrett and Foley work together against Angle. Foley boxes Kurt but then takes Jarrett out by accident. He then takes Kurt out of the ring and slams Kurt into the barriers. Jarrett wasn't happy about being punched earlier on and hits the stroke into the steel steps on Foley. Scott Steiner then appears out of nowhere and hits Foley with a lead pipe. Angle and Jarrett continue to fight in the ring. This is when their real life problems would have been at their worst. In fact, this would be Jarrett's final match before Dixie Carter found out that Jeff was with Karen Angle in real life, and he'd be sent away for 6 months. Jarrett has the match won, but Eric Young won't count the 3 because he doesn't like Jarrett. Jarrett gets his guitar, but Foley puts the mandible claw on. Angle then puts the ankle lock on Foley and he taps straight away. Or at least they act like he did. Foley's a bad loser, so he attacks Angle. The whole main event Mafia make the save for Kurt. They wrap Foley in barbed wire and then they hit him with a barbed wire bat. It's a D for don't give him any more world title shots. Match 10, TNA Victory Road 2009 for the world heavyweight title. Why? Mick Foley versus the champion Kurt Angle. It starts out very slow and I almost fell asleep. Foley hits the knee in the corner and puts Kurt in the armbar, but he makes the ropes. Foley hits a leg drop on Kurt as he tries to get back into the ring. He also hits a net breaker across the ropes. Foley suplexes Kurt back into the ring for a 2 count. Wow, actual wrestling moves. Foley catapults Kurt onto the outside of the ring. On the outside, Kurt back body drops Foley onto the ring steps. Kurt misses a moonsault back in the ring and Foley takes advantage, hitting the double arm DDT, but he only gets a 2 count. Then there's a ref bump. Kurt then attacks the ref even more. He grabs a steel chair, but Foley puts the mandible claw on and throws Kurt to the outside. He runs and drops his elbow onto Kurt, but he doesn't pause to build any anticipation with the crowd. You'd think he'd know how to do this stuff by now. Kurt kicks out of the pin attempt. Angle puts him in the ankle lock and uses the grapevine, and Foley taps out. Let that be the last of it now. No more world title shots for this guy. The match is a C. Match 11, Office Keys on a pole match. Ugh. Kurt Angle versus Mick Foley, who has one of the most disgusting t-shirts to ever exist. Basically, the keys that are on the line are for Mick Foley's office, and Kurt and the main event Mafia are trying to take over TNA. Foley's leg hurts from the ankle lock at the pay-per-view, so he can't climb to get the keys. Foley gets Kurt on the top and suplexes him. Foley locks in the mandible claw and Kurt passes out. Unfortunately for him, Samoa Joe and Scott Steiner interfere and stop him, and the referee throws the match out. The main event Mafia beat down Foley and then Bobby Lashley makes his debut, but he attacks the main event Mafia to their surprise. A pretty ugly match, it's an F. Match 12, TNA heavyweight, no! Just no. No more heavyweight title shots. Well, this one's different, it's also got the TNA Legends title on the line. It's Kurt Angle and Kevin Nash, the champions, versus Mick Foley. He's supposed to be teaming with Bobby Lashley, but he's taken out before the match. Foley gets beaten up for ages, but then he hits the double arm DDT on Kurt. He tries to lock on the mandible claw, but Nash boots him in the face. Kurt gets the ankle lock on Foley again, but the lights go out, and then Sting appears in the crowd and points at Angle. The lights then go out again, and Lashley is in the ring, and he hits a spear on Nash, and Foley makes the cover. Foley is the new TNA Legends champion, and the match is a D. Match 13, Hard Justice 2009, TNA Legends title, Kevin Nash versus the Legends champion Mick Foley. Oh, it's over 10 minutes. Well, I've been surprised at the lack of hardcore matches. That pretty much changes from here on. Yeah, it's a Kevin Nash match, you didn't mishear me. Shut up or I'll smack you one. This is going to be a tough one to watch. Nash kicks Foley into the guardrail. He tries to cream Foley with a steel chair but misses, and then Foley hits him with the steel chair. Foley tries to dive off the ring apron but Nash blocks it with a chair. Foley is now busted open. Surprising thing for me now is how little Foley has bled in TNA. Nash starts boxing Foley in the ring as blood splatters all over the camera. Foley tries to fight through the loss of blood and he slams Nash into the steel steps to bust him open. Foley keeps boxing him to make him bleed even more. Then there's a ref bump. Foley tries to take the barbed wire bat into the match but Tracy runs out to cause a distraction. Nash hits a move that isn't caught on camera and he pins Foley to regain his Legends title. After the match, Nash hits Foley with the bat and the idiot Abyss makes the save with his own bat. I didn't completely hate this match, believe it or not. It's a C. Match 14, TNA Legends Championship match. It's the champion Kevin Nash versus Mick Foley. Foley hits a knee lift and a knee in the corner. He wants to use his sock, but Nash kicks Foley against the ring barrier just like the last match. Foley's losing this one and then Abyss randomly comes out dressed like Foley and he's running around like an idiot swinging the bat. The match is thrown out and Foley looks annoyed. Nash looks pretty happy. It's an F. Completely unrelated, but before the next match, Kevin Nash is backstage getting drunk and he has a midget on his lap, and he asks the midget if this is even possible. He instructs us to stay wet, my friends. I'm not getting into the territory of that last video again. Nash can shove it. Match 15, TNA Tag Team Championship. The champions, Scott Steiner and Booker T, accompanied by SHARMELL, take on the team of Abyss and Mick Foley. Abyss is so happy to be teaming with his hero, he's clapping like an idiot seal. Mick is in a bad mood because somebody broke his photo of him and Jeremy Borash tweeting. Abyss and Foley hit a double shoulder block and then they get a 2 count on Steiner. Foley then randomly turns on Abyss and hits a double arm DDT, so Steiner and Booker T win the match. Foley explains that Abyss was the one who broke his stupid photo. He hits Abyss in the head with the VHS tape as Abyss is busted open. Abyss is crying and screaming as the crowd are in complete silence. Foley gets his barbed wire bat and hits Abyss in the gut and knocks him down. Then he dives with the bat on top of him. The show goes off the air with Abyss screaming and crying, "Why, Mick, why?" What an idiot. This match is an F. Match 16, Mick Foley accompanied by Dr. Stevie and Daphne, who are immediately sent to the bat by the way, and he teams up with Kurt Angle. Great job, Mick, you didn't exactly help get rid of the main event Mafia from TNA and now you're teaming up with them. They're taking on the team of Abyss and Matt Boring. Mick hits Abyss with the barbed wire bat when nobody's looking. Foley beats Abyss up in the corner and hits a weak looking kick on him. Boring almost pins Foley with a discus clothesline. Abyss then goes to hit Foley in the face with a barbed wire bat. And I can't explain what happened, he doesn't do it. And then Boring puts Foley away with the carbon footprint. It's an F. Match 17, just hang in there. TNA Bound for Glory 2009 Monsters Ball with special referee Stevie Richards. It's Abyss versus Mick Foley. Apparently thumbtacks are banned from this match, which is a pleasant surprise for an Abyss match. Foley attacks Abyss with his bat on the way to the ring. You know, this bat really loses its appeal when you see it 50 times a show. Foley takes Abyss out on the ramp. Foley then starts climbing the Titantron. Abyss follows him up there, so Foley hits a bunch of bad looking punches and Abyss falls. Foley then collects his bat and dives on top of Abyss. He's down for a bit, but Abyss sets up a barbed wire board. Abyss then gets a trash can and creams Foley time and time again. Abyss brings another barbed wire board into the match and it backfires because Foley hits the double arm DDT on top of it. Foley then assaults Abyss with the bat. You know, I'm surprised they haven't set the thing on fire yet. Abyss sends Foley into one of the boards but is unable to squash him in the corner. Stevie and Foley sandwich Abyss between 2 boards and then Foley follows that up with an elbow drop. Daphne then appears and hands Foley a taser. Foley shocks Abyss in the gut, but he can only get a 2 count. Foley tries to hit the barbed wire mandible claw, but Abyss drop toe holds Foley onto the board. Abyss then choke slams Daphne from the top and through a board on the outside. This legitimately hurt Daphne. Abyss hits the black hole slam on the thumbtacks on Stevie. Abyss then choke slams Foley on the barbed wire board and uses Stevie's hand to count the 3. A good hardcore match to be fair, and the best Foley match I've seen so far in TNA. It gets a B. Match 18, TNA Final Resolution 2009, Foley's Funhouse match. Will it live up to its name? I doubt it. It's Raven and Stevie Richards versus Mick Foley and Abyss, who are apparently friends again for some reason. Mick Foley fights Raven to the back and they disappear for ages. Don't know what they're doing and neither do I care. Raven appears and Abyss is left in a handicap situation for a while. Raven wants to tip petrol over Abyss, but then Foley makes the save by shoving a shopping trolley into them. Foley has his bat as he does in every match, and he beats the bad guys up. In the ring, an actual wrestling move from Foley as he hits a pile driver on Raven, and follows it up with a double arm DDT on Stevie. Foley wants to use the claw, but Raven throws powder in his face. Abyss pulls out the sock just to prove everyone right about how Abyss is just a Foley ripoff, but this doesn't really go anywhere. Foley gets Stevie on a table wrapped in barbed wire, and then Foley dives off the ramp onto it with an elbow drop. Abyss puts Raven away with the black hole slam. Not as hardcore a match as I thought it would be, and shorter. And no, it wasn't exactly fun, it's a D. Match 19. No DQ match. Mick Foley versus Kevin Nash and a shopping trolley. Foley tries to hit Nash with his little bat, but he blocks it with a trash can, and then he blocks it with a steel chair. It looks stupid and fake. Nash finally takes Foley down with a low hockey stick shot. Nash tries to grate Foley's face off, but he hits a low blow to stop him. Foley tries to hit Nash with a picture frame, but for some reason he hesitates, so Nash just boots him in the face and pins him for the 3. I think it was that photo of him and Jeremy Borash tweeting. Why he's so obsessed with that thing, I'll never know. It went 2 minutes and it was bad. It's an F. The band comes out to attack Mick Foley, but instead they turn on Kevin Nash. Match 20, TNA Against All Odds 2010, no DQ match, Abyss versus Mick Foley. The story here is that they're friends and don't want to hurt each other, although Foley sort of wants to hurt him more than Abyss wants to hurt Foley. Foley is slapping Abyss and telling him to use the bat, but Abyss doesn't want to hurt Foley. Abyss is just too scared and refuses to throw Foley into the tacks. Such an idiot. He looks like he's having a mental breakdown. This did nothing for Abyss's popularity, and the Abyssomania gimmick just after this did even less. The highlight of the match is that Foley loses Mr. Socko, and then he steals the referee's filthy sock. This match is bowling shoe ugly. Foley has it won, but lets go of the hold for some reason. I have no idea what's going on. Foley gets his little bat, but then Abyss randomly hits the black hole slam on the tacks and it's over. Thank God. F. Match 21. Loser leaves TNA match with Beer Money as the special referees. It's Mick Foley versus Jeff Jarrett. Yay, another match where the two wrestlers don't really want to fight each other. Beer Money spend the match screwing with both guys because Bischoff wants them both fired. The leader of the Grey Crew comes out to join the commentary team, just to stink the place up even more. Foley eventually hits the double arm DDT, but Jarrett gets his foot on the rope. Foley puts the mandible claw on, but Jarrett fights out of it. Double J hits the stroke onto the chair, and it's over. Foley's fired. Thank God. Everyone is sad, but I'm happy, because this video is now over. The match is a D. Thank God it's over. Match 22. Wait, what? It said it was a loser leaves TNA match. That isn't fair, they lied to me. You gave me false hope, TNA. In reality, TNA took Foley off TV because he'd worked too many dates and he was costing them too much money. Match 22, last man standing match, Ric Flair versus Mick Foley. This is about 6 months after the last match, and this was honestly his last TNA match. He would actually only have 2 more matches in wrestling after this as well. Foley gets busted open and they fight around the ringside. Foley gets his stupid bat. You know, I'm shocked they never set this thing on fire. How could they not do that? I'm almost annoyed about it. He hits Flair in the face with it anyway. They fight around the building with Foley bashing Flair with the bat over and over again. It's such a weak weapon, but it's meant to be devastating. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Flair throws Foley off the ramp and he goes for a table. Flair gets him back in the ring and beats him up with his own book. Flair brings tacks into the match, but Foley bat body drops him onto them. Foley then brings a barbed wire board into the match and he shunts it into Flair's face. Foley brings a table into the match, but Flair hits him in the nutsack multiple times. Flair stacks him on the table and splashes Foley through it. The ref starts the count for the first time in the match and it looks like both men are going to get up at 8, but suddenly Flair takes the Flair bump into the tacks and Foley's won. Not that bad of a match actually, the crowd were into it. It's interesting that the grades have increased since Foley stopped trying to have actual wrestling matches and switched to the hardcore style. This match is a C, a decent spectacle. Foley went on to appear sporadically after this, but never had another match again in TNA, and he was released in 2011. He would have one more match in the Indies, and his final ever match was the 2012 Royal Rumble. Now all of these matches were long, but I will say it picked up in the second half. I stand by what I said in the last video though when I called him a waste of money. His match quality was shocking considering who he was and how much TNA were paying him. He really shouldn't have been in the main event at this time in his life. But the hardcore stuff was alright. His over-reliance on that stupid bat really got on my nerves. 22 matches and 11 of them were an F. So I have to do it, don't I? I have to shove him into the shove it zone. Mick Foley shoved it in TNA, he shoved it in the main event, He shoved it then, he shoved it as the lead shareholder, and he shoved that barbed wire bat every night and day. Welcome to the Shove It Zone, Mick. You're here to stay.